Work.
It does not get any more beautiful than this Tucson sky. The painted skies right over Bear Down Beach on the campus of Arizona. PAC12 Beach Volleyball Championships. The contenders bracket. It is survive and advance. Stanford versus Arizona coming up. But first we'll take a look at the winners bracket. Things going as expected in that the top two seeds in the tournament, USC and UCLA, will move on and play tomorrow morning. The winners bracket. Taking a look at the contenders bracket, well, people have been fighting their way through it. And so coming up right now, Stanford versus Arizona. Following this match, we got one more tonight. Arizona State versus Washington. Lose, go home. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Anne-Marie Anderson alongside three-time Olympic beach volleyball player Holly McPeak. Holly, the pressure is on now because it is survive and advance. Let's talk about Arizona and Stanford and what to look for.
Well, Arizona played extremely well. They were pushing UCLA, but unable to get any wins. And you know, that's what it comes down to. You have to beat the best if you want to pull an upset. And so far, everything's gone according to seeds.
Meanwhile, for Stanford, still a fairly young program, but they do have
freshmen.
Depth.
Yes, 7 freshmen, some talented freshmen, but the future is bright at Stanford for sure.
Well, so let's take a look at the courts of action. There's 5 courts of action going on at the same time. Of course, now the sun is setting, as we just showed you, in spectacular fashion. We're going to turn our attention to court number 1 and the top pairs for these two programs. Catherine Plummer and Jenna Gray, 2 indoor players, are the number 1 team, but Catherine Plummer with a deep beach background playing with Jenna Gray, who just started playing beach a couple of months ago.
The double elimination format. This is the contenders bracket. You do not win this match, you go home with your teammates. So 5 matches of pairs, best 3 of 5 wins the match. All 5 matches play at the same time to conclusion. First 2 sets to 21, you must win by 2. Third set, if necessary, game to 15, again, win by 2.
The identical twin Witt sisters, the one pair for Arizona, facing Plummer and Gray. What Plummer has that nobody else does is length.
At 6'6", you can bet that. She is dominating at the net. She's one of the only players in the world that has a medal indoors and beach at the FIVB World Championships representing the U.S.
Yeah, and she also has an indoor and national championship, as does the Stanford indoor team. What was remarkable about that was Plummer won the indoor national championship with her Stanford team and then went directly to the beach.
Catherine Plummer was basically a recruited setter. She's 6'6", moves well, has beautiful hands, but when Stanford needed her to become the outside hitter on the left side, she did it, and boy, did she step up. National Freshman of the Year. She's just amazed me at every level. I used to see her when she was 14 playing on the beach. She was 6'3", and I thought she was big, but she moved well, and she's grown, obviously, since then.
Yeah, 6'6", just an incredibly talented athlete, very intense, and part of the challenge, according to Stanford head coach Andrew Fuller, for her has been how much should she say to Jenna Gray. She has so much knowledge to share, but she doesn't want to overwhelm her partner either.
Correct. You know, keep it simple, but help make it easier for Jenna Gray, a first-year beach player. Jenna Gray is a fantastic athlete. It's 6'1". She's dynamic. She's able to put the ball away. She's seen the court pretty well, and most setters do. I mean, they have to read the defense. They have to run the offense. So setters usually see the game well.
Well, and another thing on Catherine Plummer, of course, is that if she stepped out on the world tour right now, she'd be the tallest player in the world. Andrew Fuller says, frankly, it's cool to work with her. He said she's just very cerebral.
Cerebral, smart, physically talented, hardworking. I mean, all the things you want in an athlete. Jenna Gray digs the ball. Catherine Plummer in transition, trying to hit that deep corner, just a little long.
This is 2 freshmen in this top pair for Stanford. And when you take a look at the breakdown of classes for Stanford, you see the youth of the Cardinal.
7 freshmen for Stanford, 6 sophomores, 2 juniors, 0 seniors. So that means they're just going to continue to get better. And that was the same thing indoor. Their freshmen made a huge difference indoors. when they started this beach season, they thought they were going to have Moretta Letts. They thought they were going to have Adriana Fitzmaurice. And they've had to shift. Some of those indoor players had injuries and they've had to shift. And these are the athletes that remained.
Meanwhile, indoor practice started last Monday for Stanford. And so after this tournament, there's going to be no NCAA tournament for Stanford. And they are going to the indoor game. They did not submit a team for the beach championships. They need to work on their indoor program, and they're very proud of it.
First-year head coach will be starting next year. He's been hired, Kevin Hambley at Stanford. And no pressure. They just won a national championship last year.
With an incredibly 3 freshmen in the starting lineup of that national championship team. So just reloading. Meanwhile, let's talk about the Wits a little bit, as McKenna and Madison Witt have been the staple of this Wildcats program since inception.
Madison Witt will jump serve and run to the net. She is the primary blocker of the two. McKenna will play defense. They're quick athletes. They're dynamic and springy, fun to watch. Have done a great job leading the Arizona team, really setting the bar high, bringing the rest of the kids with them. And you see right here, look at the cut shot. The hand gets on top of the ball, taking the ball away from the defender.
Yeah, the Wits doing things a little bit differently in that they were beach-only players here, but they're going to go a 5th year over to Cal Baptist and go to the indoor game.
Yeah, you don't hear about that a lot, but it's an opportunity to get an education, and they took it. That time, Jenna Gray tried a cut shot. And a cut shot's something that takes practice and mastery, and more time in the sand, the better your cut shot gets. That time, ball set too tight to the net. Madison takes care of it for Arizona.
Chang and Vanyak leading the Olivias by 1 on court number 2. And Hentz and Keefe leading Devlin and Manley, so Stanford in control. Plummer, no one on, cuts.
But Catherine Plummer identifies what the defense is doing, hits it in the right area, out of the range of the defender. That ball pushed outside, but she had enough pace on that ball for the defender not to be able to control it.
Madison and McKenna Witt did not have many indoor offers when they were originally pursuing collegiate volleyball, and they wanted to stay together. And they said, well, one team doesn't need the same player. That was part of their problem. A team would want one or the other of them. Beach volleyball, the natural fit for them. Andrew Fuller, in his first year as the head coach of Stanford, building quite a program up there on some beautiful facilities and courts.
He certainly is, and he's doing it the right way. He's including the players and explaining why they do things. And he said, you know what, I'm giving the players ownership. This is their volleyball program. We're trying to build this together. It's not me and them, it's us together. And I think it's the right attitude, and that's what they did at USC. He was an assistant coach there from 2012 to 2016, and he wants to build something special at Stanford. Good idea by Jenna Gray, optioning that ball just wide, but the idea was right. So her mindset and decision-making is in the right area.
5-point lead for the Wits over Plummer and Gray. The hands of Catherine Plummer. Just smooth.
Back set, and Jenna Gray, the indoor setter, puts the ball away. It's funny, they've changed roles. Jenna Gray would set Catherine Plummer indoors. Now Catherine Plummer setting Jenna Gray on the beach.
It's also interesting for me to watch Catherine Plummer's demeanor. She's not overly expressive on the court. Trying to shut the door there and gets used off the block.
She's calm and collected.
We have seen the full range today throughout 12 hours of beach volleyball coverage on Pac-12 Network. Very emotional players. Nicolette Martin of USC comes to mind, to the very cool and cerebral Catherine Plummer.
Well, Andrew Fuller talks about Catherine Plummer. He said she's so efficient with her movements. She doesn't spend too much energy on unnecessary things. And when you play indoor volleyball and have to come straight out to the beach, you don't have time to waste energy. And I talked about, were you worried that, injury or wearing Catherine Plummer down? He's like, you know what? We gave Catherine Plummer, some time to just shoot the ball around, but she's got such a strong base of strength that she's able to play at such a high level, both indoor and beach right away.
Look at these balls that she's touching and then turning and covering. And you talk about wearing her out. Jenna Gray is the one who's throwing javelin. She's the third best thrower in the Pac-12.
Such a good point. I wanted to talk about three-sport athlete at Stanford is Jenna Gray. Throwing the javelin, so she'll resume that next week, playing indoor volleyball and beach volleyball for Stanford, and she's a Stanford student at the same time.
Yeah, and I mean, top level in every sport that there is. She's on the ones of the beach team, won a national championship running the offense indoor, and is the third best thrower in the conference in the javelin.
All as a freshman.
All as a freshman.
It's funny because these two are freshmen. They have almost every class together, and now they're on the court together, but they get along well, and they have a good attitude. The chemistry is nice. They don't put too much pressure on the other, and Catherine Plummer helps Jenna on the beach, and then vice versa. So they work well together. Sometimes that could be too much. You spend time in the classroom, and then they're two of the best friends, Madison and McKenna Witt.
Spent time together in the womb.
Right. They've been together a long time, and they joked about that when we talked to them. Twin problems.
Twin problems, they say. They can use it to their advantage.
Definitely.
The Wits leading by 5 in this premier matchup between Arizona and Stanford. Survive and advance. These teams trying to play tomorrow in the Pac-12 beach volleyball tournament.
Beautiful angle block by Madison Witt. She made the block move late and caught Jenna Gray by surprise.
Jenna Gray deciding that looks awfully high and out as it floated away. Arizona hosting the Pac-12 Beach Volleyball Championships this weekend, doing an incredible job here at Bear Down Beach. Beautiful facility. And the Wits rewarding their head coach with a big rip of the ball.
Steve Walker so passionate about this program and building it. Last year they had a fantastic year, 20-plus wins, went to the NCAA tournament, surprised a lot of people, really pushing this Arizona Beach volleyball program and push for this beautiful facility. He must have paid extra for that painted sky because that was spectacular.
That's extra here just for the tournament, but what a facility it is. 5 courts straight across. One of those beautiful facilities in the country. They're building special things here. Dave Rubio, the director of volleyball, a legendary indoor coach, very proud of the program that's been built here under Steve Walker, who used to be his indoor assistant. McKenna Witt up. A good use off the block.
Well, McKenna Witt's feeling the presence of Catherine Plummer at the net. At 6'6", you don't see many blocks that size, and she hit that ball out of bounds, didn't even touch the block. Just the thought of having to try to get it over a 6'6" blocker is a nightmare for me.
The lead been whittled down to 3.
Net violation on that last block. Arizona gets the point, but it's just a 2-point game in that first set.
Jenna Gray off the block. Look at the turnaround by Madison Witt to touch that ball. Incredible. Wow. Witt sisters in the air and get it and convert the kill.
You see the quick twitch muscle work on that. Madison gets the touch at the net and then turns and lands and lays that out. I try and teach kids that all the time. So hard. They're like, that's impossible. I'm like, no, watch Madison Witt.
How do you do it? Say what the first couple of things are that you need to think about there, because it looks incredible.
Well, one, you want to push over the net. Once it gets past your block, you want to turn and with your core, get as fast as you can to as close as the ball, then lay it out. And it's not easy to do, but Madison Witt is doing it really well for Arizona.
And McKenna Witt so quick behind her, too.
Yes, that's what I talked about at the beginning. There's such a quick, dynamic team, so fun to watch. Ambidextrous in some situations. That time, Catherine Plummer using her range to win that point for Stanford.
Catherine Plummer and Jenna Gray trailing by 5 in set number 1. Deep ball. Madison up at the net as she does, and she shuts the door.
Jenna Gray trying to be aggressive, but Madison Witt, quick hands over the net for Arizona. Doing a good job making late moves against Jenna Gray.
Now, we saw this in the earlier match that Stanford had. Catherine Plummer not optioning at all on the ball, hitting the second ball. Is there a need for it now when the pass is right?
If she has the opportunity, she should definitely green light it and do it. But, you know, Catherine Plummer's doing a lot of work. She's serving, running to the net, dropping off the net. She's doing a lot of work. So it's hard to complain that she's not doing enough.
Right. Andrew Fuller, though, saying he's asked her, please, it's okay. Jenna will be grateful, too. It is set point number 2 for the Witt sisters of Arizona.
Double contact called on Jenna Gray, the indoor setter, trying to use her hands out here, and it didn't come out as clean as usual. Arizona wins the first set at once.
So let's go over to the action on court number 2, where Chang and Vanyak for Stanford up by 3 against the Olivias. Going to that deep corner again, and Stanford just having the Midas touch right now.
Well, it was interesting. Peyton Chang dug the ball. Ivana Vanyak chased it, but then brought it way back across the court. Peyton Chang had no other option than to bump it deep in the corner.
Trying to turn it down the line as the Olivias stay alive.
Olivia Halloran, 5'9" freshman from Mesa, Arizona. Getting it done. Open net. Quick hit down the line. She's been the biggest surprise, and she is having a blast representing Arizona.
Pulling out the hands was Chang, and Vanyak and Chang take set number 1 for Stanford.
Peyton Chang, good beach experience growing up and using the size of Ivana Vanyak at the net to her advantage.
While they take a break, let's jump over to the 5 pairs. Kat Anderson and Chelsea Red Horse Mall of Stanford against Haley Amaro and Natalie Anselmo of Arizona. Both of these teams won in their earlier matches today. And we watched Amaro and Anselmo really gut it out at the end of their previous match.
Anselmo Amaro beat UCLA. That was the 1 point on the board for Arizona. And Savvy Simone and Lily Justine, very athletic, good beach team, but Arizona played very well. And there's the drop roll shot that I love from Natalie Anselmo for Arizona.
Hey, take your time.
Anselmo beach background. Father John Anselmo played on the AVP. Grew up with their toes in the sand, touching the ball frequently.
Both parents played. Mother Sherry plays for fun on the beach, very competitive, and she grew up on the beaches of Southern California. Good feel for the game, moves the ball around the court, just making the adjustment to the college game.
Amaro and Anselmo set point number 2.
Overline, over her.
Trying to go to the back line. And it works. Anselmo puts it away, and a first set victory for the 5 pair, Amaro and Anselmo. So let's jump over to the 4 pairs.
Get out, no one!
Mason and Burling struggled in their earlier match today.
Mia Mason set that ball tight for Brooke Burling, gets her feet to the ball, cuts it. All these players are on the smaller size. Nobody's really big and dominant, so I'm sure there's going to be long, extended rallies.
Arizona's 5 and 1s winning the first set. Stanford's 2s winning the first set, and now Mason and Burling in a fight with Raquel and Richardson.
Catherine Raquel now going to serve and run to the net. She was a full-time defender, now a blocker.
Burling. And just a joust at the net, but defending the net, Raquel.
Well, Catherine Raquel, what Andrew Fuller said is she drops off the net and does a good job digging balls. She was overset and was able to save herself, blocking in transition for the point.
Tied up at 19 apiece. Brooke Burling saying one of the things she really likes about her partner, Mia Mason, how fiery she gets. She feeds off of that fire. While they take a break, let's pop over to the threes. Morgan Hentz and Kaylin Keefe with set point versus Devlin and Manley.
Love Morgan Hent's game. She's got such a nice feel, and you see the drop shot. Sees the two back and drops it short. Good Stanford win in the first set.
So the Stanford 2s and 3s with a set 1 win. Arizona takes set 1 for the 1s and the 5s. 4s is still to be decided. It really doesn't get any closer than this. This is survive and advance. Loser is out of the PAC12 team competition. The 4 pairs, Mason and Burling, 19 all. Tied up, 19 apiece. Inside the block.
Good vision by Mia Mason. Stays behind the ball, sees the opening down the line. Not a huge presence at the net. All these players are on the smaller defensive side.
Set point for Mason and Burling. Still remains set point and up. Kind of the other way, but it's a double call.
All tied up at 20s.
Let's go.
Shannon Richardson has been on a tear from the service line.
Service ace.
And when these two teams matched up last week, that is where they scored and that is where they won. Off Shannon Richardson's serve, really serving at Brooke Burling.
Coming again, another consecutive ace, and Stanford takes set number 1 in extra points. On the other side of this break, we're going to bring in the big guns. Dane Blanton, the volunteer assistant for USC, going to join us in the booth.
You're watching
Pac-12 Beach Volleyball is brought to you by State Farm. Get to a better state. What a beautiful night in Tucson. Stanford and Arizona in a contenders bracket matchup that is survive and advance. Hey everybody, Anne-Marie Anderson and 3-time Olympian Holly McPeak, joined by Olympic gold medalist Dane Blanton, sitting much closer than we normally do here, Dane.
It's cozy.
Hours and hours in the sun. But for USC, where you were a volunteer assistant coach, another big win, just the domination of that program. What makes them so special?
Well, today was really special. I think that was maybe their most efficient win, the most efficient duel that we've seen them go up against ASU. They were surgical. They came out. They are so focused right now, and they're playing their best volleyball. That's what you want as a coach, and we couldn't be happier. It's a matter of getting them to that level every single match right now, but they're excited.
There's just a limited number of matches left for this senior group that has been so important to the USC beach volleyball program. Do you feel like there's kind of a sense of urgency, like every time they step out on the court, they're all in?
Absolutely, and I think it's trickling down to the underclassmen. They know how important it is every single time on the court. You got to think we're going to lose 2.5 of our 5 starting teams. And so they're teaching the ropes to those younger players. We'll be in a transition year next year, but I'll tell you what, they're learning firsthand, and everyone's stepping up. Kat Kernigan stepping in, and really unbelievable, having so much energy. I mean, you know, you've coached her when she was in high school. She is so versatile. That's the type of alternate you want ready to go, because you work hard all year long, and now's her opportunity.
Well, one more thing on Kernigan. I just wanted to say the 8 players. She's played with 8 different partners.
Yeah.
How do you identify somebody who is able to be an alternate and be that versatile?
Well, they just emerge, because, I mean, you got to give credit to Holly as well, coaching her in high school, but she has such a good attitude, and she comes out there, and then teaming up with Abril Bustamante. Wow. I mean, talk about 2 quality, high-energy players. You could plug those players in with basically anybody, and you're going to get victories. And that attitude, it's hard to teach. And I think we've been very fortunate and lucky, especially in this situation with Joy Dennis, who I believe is the best freshman in the Pac-12, no question about it. She gets sick, and these things happen. And when you have an alternate to step in, it really calms your nerves as a coach. And you know, Anna was pretty anxious about Joy not being out there, but I told her, you know, we should be all right with Kat, and Kat did exactly what we expected. She stepped to the plate.
And when you have those types of alternates who can step in and take the pressure off Joy so she can sit out and recover for next week, that is the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And she needs to get better. It's tough. You know, Holly, I know you've played sick before. It happens at the wrong times. But when we have this solid unit, and it starts with Sarah and Kelly at the top, and it just trickles down from there. But you go down the line, Allie Wheeler and Sophie, they played really well. And then Joe and Jenna at the 5. And then, of course, Nick, who just got Pac-12 student
Scholar Athlete of the Year.
Scholar Athlete of the Year. And it's just so cool. We have some special athletes. This is a special group, and it's going to be tough to see them go.
Can you talk a little bit about the Pac-12? I mean, there are 9 programs in the Pac-12, more than any other conference. And the way that the Pac-12 is leading the charge in collegiate beach volleyball.
It's really cool, and it should be like that, right? It's Southern California where volleyball began, and there's just such a wealth of talent there. It's cool to be the first conference to adopt the sport, and hopefully one day there's 12, all 12 of them, but 9 schools. It's something special. I know the Big West is doing really well. They have their tournament this weekend. That's great, and it's becoming kind of contagious. Everyone wants to get in because it's such a great sport. It's so exciting. These venues, excuse me, continue to get so much better. Last time I was here, there's only 4 courts. Now there's 5, and there's the bleachers. And the way the Pac-12 has come in and put on this event here at U of A is awesome. It makes me want to get out there and play again.
Well, how about Pac-12 Network stepping up 12 hours straight of live volleyball so we can see all the 9 Pac-12 teams competing?
It's great. It's a dream, you know, for the young kids coming up to be able to watch this and aspire to be out here. I mean, to play on TV is so cool and so special, and to be showcased. And there's so many great teams out here. I don't know about how you guys look at it, but the gap is closing quickly. Oh, yeah. There's so much parity. That ASU team that Kelly and Sarah played, always give them a really tough time, and there's so many great teams. There's no easy wins, especially in the Pac-12.
As a coach, Dane, how is this tournament different? I mean, usually we see 2 flights of action. Today, everybody's playing all at once, and that means some teams are left alone for a little while.
Yeah, absolutely. This is totally different psychology than playing 2 different flights. And it's more intense because you're playing all 5 matches at the same time, as opposed to knowing where your team stands after 2 matches and then going out there and doing the work. You don't know what's going on the other court, and so it can be nerve-wracking. As a coach, you don't want your players to watch that big board. When you have the big board with all 5 scores, they're peeking up there thinking that, you know, do I have to step it up more or not? You know, you just want them going full board the whole time. And from a psychology standpoint, it's totally different. It really is having the 5 matches going on at once, and it's nerve-wracking because you can only have 3 coaches. You know, you got your head coach, your assistant coach, your volunteer assistant. That's 3, and you got to run around to 5 courts and try to make it happen.
So, Dane, let me ask you this. You're an Olympic gold medalist, a very successful public speaker, a very successful broadcaster. Why are you volunteer assistant coaching?
Well, I'm trying to learn the ropes, and you know, hopefully have an opportunity one day to head coach, but I'm learning so much working under Anna Collier and working with Allie Lamberson, just a great coaching staff. And like I said, the group of girls is amazing. But yeah, I guess you're paying your dues. You know, you're learning and trying to get better. And dealing with collegiate athletes, especially women, are, you know, it's something that you learn to deal with, and there's different tricks of the trade, and I learn something new every day, and you really want to get them out there playing their best volleyball every single time.
We look forward to seeing how you develop as a coach, because we've seen you over the years in so many different ways. What is it about the collegiate athlete that draws you to wanting to be and running a program someday?
Yeah, I've been asked that before. I think it's a transition time. You know, high school is a little young, but in college, a lot of these girls are going to go play professional next. That's going to be their career for some time. I mean, Sarah Hughes and Kelly Clays, who knows how far they'll get professionally, but a ton of potential. You know, if you look to the future, you talk about their name, and it's kind of that in between where players decide, I'm going to make this a career or not, but it's like right before that preview, and knowing that you get a lot of attention in terms of focus from those athletes. They're not just out there, hey, we're throwing the balls out and having fun. They're serious, and they want to learn. And when you have athletes that want to learn every day, that's cool, no matter what your record is.
You have a motivational speaking, I guess, company. It's you. Called Getting to Gold. And I see on Instagram, and I follow you, you touch so many different kids. How many schools do you talk to each year?
I do about 15 a semester, 15 in the fall and 10 to 15 right now in the spring. And it's so cool. A lot of it's based in California, but I've spoken all over New Jersey. You know, I was in Illinois about a month ago. And mainly, usually it's 9th graders, because 9th graders are so impressionable. That's a time where you get a big dropout rate, where the student decides either school's for me or it's not. So if you can get just that one kid to stick on the path to being successful, and I don't say that everybody needs to go to college, because they don't. We have a lot of successful people in this world that didn't go to school, but go out there, get a trait, 2-year school, 4-year school, you know, a technical skill. Get something so you're valuable, and just really go for it. Surround yourself with the right people and really believe in yourself. I intertwine my story of winning the Olympics with basically everything else, you know, with getting good grades in high school. When I wasn't a great student, but I knew if I could get good grades, it'd open up some opportunities, and maybe I'd get a scholarship, which I did, because I couldn't afford to go to Pepperdine when I went there. And the kids just have to believe, and I think we all have a story, and I need to get you out there.
No, you do an amazing job, and it's so neat that you talk to kids, especially 9th graders. Thank you so much for visiting with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, and hopefully tomorrow we get some more great volleyball.
Thank you for giving us somebody else to talk to. We've been talking to each other here for hours. Totally over it. Dane Blanton, thank you so much. Getting to Gold, volunteer assistant coach for USC, Olympic gold medalist.
If you want more information, if you want him to come speak at your school, check him out.
All right, Dane, you're awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Meanwhile, the Wits roll on as they are leading Plummer and Gray on court number 1 by 2 points. Madison and McKenna Witt lost to the McNamara's earlier today, and the action's going on across all the courts. Back to court number 2 now, where the Olivias of Arizona, Little Liv and Big Liv, McDonald and Halloran, are battling Ivana Vanyak and Peyton Chang.
I like this team of Halloran McDonald for Arizona. They're very fun to watch, very energetic and athletic, big at the net, very athletic behind, see the game well. It's really fun to watch them.
And so split sets, Halloran and McDonald. Little Liv, Big Liv took set number 2. Chang and Vonyak set 1. Court number 2 will go to a third set.
Olivia Halloran, just a freshman, learning to play the game. And you see assistant coach for Arizona, Kira Iannone, coaching her, telling her what she needs to do to win this match.
Meanwhile, this is what Dame Blanton was just talking about. Right now, McKenna and Madison Witt, no coach on their court. The attention is elsewhere. They're leading by 2 against Plummer and Gray of Stanford.
Beach volleyball, you can't always have a coach. You need to be able to figure things out on your own. And a lot of my kids, oh, please coach me at this tournament. You know what? You need to figure it out on your own. I'd like to help you. I'd like to teach you some stuff while you're competing. But you learn so much competing on your own without a coach. You have to figure it out. You have to change strategy on the fly. You have to, figure out what's not working. That's so important.
That's a big difference from indoor, where they tell you where to serve. Match point number 1 for the Wits. I mean, in indoor volleyball, that is not the case at all. There's timeouts. There's so many substitutions. You can come out and talk to your coach then. You get a serving signal for where you should be serving. Match points going on the 5 and the 1 pairs. Amaro and Anselmo win and put the first point on the board for Arizona. A big win for them. They won against UCLA, their solo point. Now they've just put Arizona up.
The 5 pairs for Arizona have been on fire today, representing Arizona well. That's their second win.
McKenna Witt and Madison Witt, a win for Arizona as well. And so Arizona leading this duel off of their 5 and 1 pairs wins. Twin sisters walking off victorious.
And you see the love between them, the bond. It's pretty amazing.
Let's check out what's been happening for the 3 pairs. Stanford's Morgan Hentz and Caitlin Keefe facing Sam Manley and Haley Devlin. Andrew Fuller congratulating the Wits, though, on court number 1 before we go over to 3.
Court 3 is match point. Sam Manley and her blocker partner, Haley Devlin.
They've known each other since they were 14, playing together for 5 years. Manley also ran track in high school, but just a great chemistry team, according to Steve Walker, head coach of Arizona.
And we talk about chemistry a lot, but for some reason in women's beach volleyball, the chemistry between females competing together on the same court is really important. You can have the 2 best female beach volleyball players in the world, and if their personalities don't work well together, it doesn't work.
Always, but you did say that in the past you've had partners where you're not pally-pally all the time, and they've been very successful partnerships.
Oh, correct, yeah, we work on the court. Our volleyball relationship was perfect, but we didn't hang out off the court. So we respected each other, we worked hard together, and our chemistry in terms of competing, the way we moved together, was awesome.
And how about an awesome win for Hentz and Keefe to pick up a point for Stanford. That's important because now it is 2-1, and so we're going to take a break. We'll be back for the finish of this duel. Survive and advance. Loser goes home.
This is it, the big inning. Anything can happen.
Hello, my name is McKenna Witt. Hi, I'm Madison Witt. I'm an athlete at the University of Arizona, U of A, sand volleyball. Go Cats! I play with my best friend, Madison Witt, my twin, my partner. My sister has always been my partner so far. I know everything about my sister. I know what she's feeling, what she's thinking. We just have the best chemistry and we know how to play with each other. Madison and I have been together our entire lives. That means we have very good communication. We're able to know how each other's feeling on the court, how we can help each other take our game to the next level, how we can cheer each other up when one's down, how I can help her play better. Bonding with the other girls has been so easy. We always hang out together on weekends, not just on the court. And I think that's important in a team. We will always work hard and do our best. We're working very hard every day to get better and better and better. Bear down, go Wildcats.
Welcome back, Bear Down Beach. Close duel and with a lot on the line. This is the contenders bracket. Winner moves on to play again tomorrow in Court 2. The action tied. Arizona leading this duel 2-1. Court number 2, it's Ivana Vanyak and Peyton Chang of Stanford versus the Olivias, McDonald and Halloran. They split the first 2 sets, Holly. What's the strength of each team?
Olivia McDonald at the net, big block for Arizona, and then Ivana Vanyak, 6'4", very good blocker at the net for Stanford. So they're going back and forth. Who can put more pressure on the other team defensively? So a tough serve and turning digs into points. Right now, Arizona with a 2-point lead in this third set.
Peyton Chang serve, it's a trouble play. Vanyak up, block waiting for, high line.
That ball set off the net, but Ivana Vanyak's got such long arms, sees the court well. Easy over line for Stanford.
Off the top of the net. Peyton Chang just put it over. Broken play all around, but the body control of Olivia McDonald, well done.
You see the athleticism. That's why I love watching the two Olivias move. One at the net, one behind the net, and then the chemistry. Good body control. The ball is kind of blowing behind her, but Olivia McDonald gets her hand on the ball. That time, Olivia McDonald way over the net. But you don't want to go over the net so much with your arms. You want your hands reaching and grabbing the ball. If she would have done that, she would have blocked that ball in the last play.
Vanyak up at the net, now pulling off. Tough one, but Peyton Chang went in, grabbed it. The turn, shut down. McDonald, not here.
Lots of pressure. Both teams really pushing the sets tight to the net, and the blockers having an impact.
Halloran and McDonald with a 2-point lead. Remember, the 5th set is shorter, only to 15. Serving Vanyak. Vanyak unloading. We saw people
Did you
serving
see that
Chang
angle?
earlier. Yeah.
She's got impressive range, bouncing the line, and that's one of the things Andrew Fuller, the coach for Stanford, told us about. She's got crazy angles. Peyton Chang's a setter indoors, experienced beach player. She's going to set Ivana Vanyak up wonderfully, and Vanyak's going to use her range.
Well, Vanyak is flexible indoors as well. She's played a number of different positions for Stanford's national championship indoor team. How well does that serve her out here?
You need to be versatile. You need to do everything well on the beach. There's no hiding. There's 2 players. So you have to be able to perform every skill if you want to be successful on the beach.
The Olivias with a 2-point lead in set number 3. Going to Peyton Chang this time. Last serve was to Vanyak. That one long. Halloran and McDonald double digits to 10.
Wow, that ball just got away from Ivana Vanyak. She could not get on top of that.
If Halloran and McDonald are able to win this 3rd set, Arizona wins the duel and plays again tomorrow. Lots on the line. Vanyak trying to close the door on the block. Former middle blocker for the indoor team. Turning it the other way.
Olivia McDonald from New Zealand gets her feet to the ball. Nice little cut shot. Gets it to drop for Arizona. 11-8 advantage in this 3rd set.
McDonald is lights out, absolutely unconscious at the net for the Wildcats.
Peyton Chang, though, getting her feet to the ball, being aggressive, not afraid to swing with the big block in front of her.
2-point lead for Halloran and McDonald.
In the third set, anything can happen. Tough serve, put some pressure on the other team. Stanford can turn this around if they execute well enough.
If Halloran and McDonald win, Arizona wins the duel. If Chang and Vanyak win, the duel's tied up at 2 apiece, and all the pressure goes onto the fours. What a dig! The little live shut down by Vanyak.
Love the dig by Olivia Halloran, the smaller player of the two lives, just scooting around in the backcourt, just unable to get that ball to drop for Arizona.
This is where the team sport aspect really shines. Ball's well long.
Darn it, set was in a pretty good location. I know it's blowing a little bit away from her, but she just needs to focus on the little things, getting her hand on the ball. A lot of open court to attack.
Chang digs. Vanyak set, not where Chang wants, but just a smooth step back. Popped down, and Vanyak and Chang regain the lead by 1.
And credit Peyton Chang. She was way off the net, but hit aggressively at Olivia McDonald. See, this ball blows way back aggressively at the dropper. Ball pops right over the net, and Ivana Vanyak terminates that overpass. Stanford, big change. They were down 9-11, now up 12-11 in this third set.
Meanwhile, we'll keep an eye on the 4 pairs as well, tied up at 6 apiece. Again, if Arizona wins either of these matches, they win the duel and they advance to tomorrow. If Stanford wants to advance to tomorrow, they need to win both of these matches. Team competition, different than the professional beach volleyball that many are used to seeing.
Both these remaining matches in the third set, and teams only separated by 1 point.
Steve Walker, head coach of the Wildcats, 4th year leading this program. It's been an incredible program on the national scene.
Peyton Chang on the back line. Ivana Vanyak patrolling the net for Stanford.
Just cocked her arm back and unloaded did Olivia McDonald.
Good aggressive swing from the middle. Not sure what Vanyak was blocking or if Peyton Chang was cheating defensively. It looked like they both had line.
Halloran serving. Tied up, 12 apiece. They go at Chang. Ripping it back and forth, trading blows. Arizona and Stanford's 2 pairs.
That's a big time swing by Peyton Chang. Starts with a good pass. Ivana Vanyak pushes her a little wide. Peyton Chang gets her feet there. Quick swing in the cross court for the Stanford point.
Holly, what's going to separate these 2 teams for the final points?
Just scoring a real point, and Stanford scored 2 or 3 to get them the lead in this third set.
McDonald gets a piece of it.
McDonald is going up high over the net to block it, which is good, but the first thing you need to do is go over. The further over the net you are with your hands, you cut off the angles.
If Chang and Vanyak win this point, then it'll be tied up. But the Olivias fighting back.
Love the fight. Both teams making huge plays right now. Chang and Vanyak still have match point. All they need to do is side out.
And if they do, it's tied up duel. We go to the 4s. They go at Chang. McDonald laying in wait. And it is Chang down the line. Stanford's pairs win. Let's put all our attention over on the fours. This is a team competition tied up at 2 apiece.
This is our most exciting match of the day so far.
So this is the way it works. It all comes down to the 4 pairs. Mason and Burling, who had a rough match earlier today, won the second set. Raquel and Richardson of Stanford just 1 point behind.
All tied up at 10. Stanford switching to the better side. Wind in their face. Lots of pressure. Everyone gathering around this court, and the players know it. Game to 5.
Richardson kind of hangs her hat on her serve. Her dad used to pressure a 1992 Winter Olympian for bobsled. And the nerves going right now. Serve is long. Whichever team wins this next 4 to 5 points will advance their team to tomorrow. Otherwise, pack it up. Team competition will be over.
This is as good as it gets. Two missed serves, back-to-back, 11-11. Stanford's turn.
Catherine Raquel of Stanford serving, a junior. She's at the net. Not a big player, sending it, split in the middle.
Both teams need to be disciplined on their defense. Shannon Richardson cheating a little. She stepped forward, and then Brooke Burling caught her in the deep corner.
Burling, little. Burling has said she likes the fieriness of Mia Mason, her partner. Mason fired up.
Both Mia Mason and Brooke Burling, great competitors who love this kind of pressure.
So with a timeout, Steve Walker talking with his 4 pairs, Mia Mason and Brooke Burling. And Holly, this is where you need depth. Your season, your Pac-12 championship, riding on your 4 pairs.
One thing I like about the team aspect is you have the 5 pairs, your 1s and 1s and 2s and 2s and 3s and 3s going down the line, meeting up, and all those points are valued the same. So yes, you need the depth, and you never know who you're going to need to win that duel for that last point. Right now, Arizona and Stanford looking at the 4s to answer the question and win the duel.
This is only the second ever Pac-12 beach volleyball championship. And you look at these 2 athletes. On the right side, Mia Mason overcoming adversity at age 12 with brain cancer. On the left, Brooke Burling overcoming adversity, born with nerve damage in both ears and wears hearing aids. This is a lot of pressure they put up with well before they ever got to athletics.
Exactly, and I think, being able to compete at this level is a gift, and I think they're both grateful for that.
Incredibly competitive teams and programs. 13-11, Mason and Burling. Mason patrolling the net. It is match point for Arizona.
Right now, Arizona answering with some tough serving, putting the pressure on Stanford. Stanford not responding.
Arizona on their home court. They win this point, they advance. Cross court. Burling pass. Mason puts it towards the net.
No one.
Long rally, controlled. Mason at the net, nice set, and it is put away by Brooke Burling. Arizona beats Stanford and advances.
Some great defense and pressure from the Arizona team. That was the difference in the end in that 3rd set.
Mason and Burling survive the pressure. The fours pair for Arizona pushes the Wildcats into tomorrow's contention for the team championship.
And we saw Mia Mason with Calais Mount do that at the NCAA tournament with everything on the line. I think she thrives under that kind of pressure. Big win for Arizona.
Arizona will face the winner of the Arizona State-Washington match. There is one more match today. Arizona State and Washington playing for the final spot in tomorrow's team championship playoffs.
PAC12 beach volleyball championship.
UCLA and USC went through the winners bracket today. And for Arizona, a fight through the contenders bracket will make them survive until Friday. Coming up next, Arizona State and Washington, the final match of the day. Don't go anywhere. Holly McPeak and I are going to take a short break, and then we'll meet you back here at Bear Down Beach.
Players and officials feel free to take the court.
You need tires. You don't need a hassle. Trust the